Good evening, everyone. I'm Susan Noble. I'm Mayor Pro Tem, and this evening I am performing my duty as Mayor Pro Tem because the mayor is out of town and is going to be joining the meeting via Zoom along with other council members. So we will go forward with the May 19th, 2025 meeting. This is a hybrid meeting of the City Council. Members of the public can view this meeting live on Channel 8, the city's website, and YouTube. Live Spanish translation services are being provided for tonight's council meeting by telephone. Please dial 720-386-9023 and use code 104091 *.
Se ofrecen servicios de interpretación en español para esta reunión del Consejo Municipal por teléfono. Marque el número 720-386-9023 y utilice el código 104091 #.
Okay, thank you. All votes on tonight's agenda will be conducted as a roll call vote. I will now call the meeting to order and ask the clerk to call roll.
Mayor Douglas,
Yes. Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Noble,
Yes?
Councilmember Madera, Councilmember Teeter,
Present.
Councilmember Chacon,
Present.
Councilmember Kim,
Hello, Brittany.
hello, Councilmember Dukes,
Present.
Councilmember Ford, and Councilmember Douglas.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. I need a motion and a second to excuse members not present. That would be council members Ford and Madera.
So move.
Thank you. And is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. I will ask the clerk to call a roll call vote.
Your vote is open. Mayor Douglas, how do you vote?
I'm sorry. I thought we were going to vote for them separate, but since that motion wasn't made, I just have to vote yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Kim, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Councilmember Chacon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you.
And then before you close it?
All right, thank you, everyone. Please join me in a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do any council members wish to amend the agenda? Councilmember Douglas?
That was actually to ask if the vote could have been separated for the attendance, but I didn't get called for that, so no, I do not want to amend the agenda until it is time for
The consent agenda?
consent agenda. Yes,
Alrighty.
thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll remove you. Public comment. All public comment, except for those on public hearings, will, yes, Brittany?
We need a vote to adopt the agenda.
Okay. I need a motion and a second to adopt the agenda as presented. Councilmember Chacon?
I make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
And Councilmember Kim?
Second.
All righty, thank you. The motion on the floor is to adopt the agenda as presented. I will ask the clerk to take a roll call vote.
Your vote is open. Mayor Douglas, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Kim, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Councilmember Chacon, how would you vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
All righty, thank you very much for reminding me that I skipped something. If you're intending to comment about a public hearing, there isn't a public hearing on the agenda tonight. So I'm just going to move forward. Public comments shall be limited to 3 minutes each. Persons registered to speak for multiple items may speak multiple times. Will the city clerk call on any virtual or in-person speakers, please?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. We do not have any virtual speakers, so we will just start on the in-person speakers. The first I have up is Scott Van Houston.
City Council. I'd like to offer a volunteer opportunity at this point. So I'm here to talk about Sand Creek Regional Greenway. This Wednesday from 5:30 to 7:30, we are going to be breaking ground for the pollinator garden in the wetland loop. The pollinator garden there's going to be native plants, of course, but we're trying to incorporate indigenous people's methods of planting and watering. So I'd really like it if everyone could come out maybe and support us and give us your thoughts on how to best incorporate this into Commerce City. While I'm talking about that volunteer opportunity, I also want to give you an update. The Colorado Rapids a couple weeks ago broke the all-time record for trash picked up in Commerce City on the Greenway with 550 pounds in one morning. That was so impressive. The sad thing is they lost their title yesterday. So yesterday there was Kind Home Solution, Kind Home Paintings. They had their volunteers for their day of service as well. And during the morning yesterday, along with 3 of us stewards and Sam Simpson, who runs the Sand Creek volunteers, they collected 638 pounds of trash in one morning. That was pretty sad, but impressive at the same time. And we only got from the Dahlia Trailhead, which is actually at Dahlia and Sand Creek, halfway to the wetland loop. So there's still plenty to pick up if anyone wants to. You don't have to do it with our group. Councilmember Dukes and I and a couple people went out too and just picked up. So no one needs a pat on the back, but if I can, I will give you a pat. So that being said, I have a pat on the back for Commerce City Park Ranger Rachel Holland. I contacted her in the beginning of the week and let her know what we were planning. She, with her partner, spent several different days checking on Sand Creek in order to give us a heads up on areas that might be difficult. At the very end of the week, they did identify a couple of new unhoused, so we had to change the direction that we went. So a big shout out to her. She helped us a lot. Other than that, I have one spiteful comment. I'm very sad to know that the Pride Proclamation, the LGBTQIA proclamation, was put into the consent agenda. It won't be read, and we won't have a photo opportunity for that. But other than that, I'd like to still support. And if I didn't take all this time up speaking about Sand Creek, I would have read the proclamation during public comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Next for public comment, we have Sean Poe. Mr. Poe, if we could begin with the 3 minutes for your board and commission resolution, and then once we're done, we'll pause and then start for the public comment section, so you get 3 minutes for each item.
Oh, okay, great. Hi, Sean Poe. I reside at 16474 East 117th Avenue in Commerce City. It's good to be back here, coming tonight to give thanks and praise. First, I want to thank the Boards and Commissions Committee for my recommending appointment. I know that's on the consent agenda for the Zoning Board of Adjustments, and I look forward to working with staff and stay active in my community. Also, I also serve as a director for the American Public Works Association, Colorado chapter. I want to wish everybody a happy Public Works Week, and thanks for approving the proclamation last week, or a couple weeks ago, for that, because the fine men and women in our profession of public works that serve the city, they deserve a lot of credit, and they're doing a fine job. They're managing a project for a crack repair in the Buffalo Run East. They're finishing that up, but the job went very well. The contractor was awesome, and I think that's a tribute to the staff in the engineering department with Mike McGoldrick and his group managing that. So I want to give thanks to that. Let's see, what was the other thing? Oh, I was appointed to the South Adams County Fire Department Board, and so I look forward to working with the other 4 members of the South Adams County Fire Department Board with the council on issues that may come up and my tenure, and so look forward to staying active there. And I want to thank you also for approving the contract for the design of chambers, and I look forward to the open house that's coming up and providing input. And so with that, thank you for your service and appreciate what you do. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Poe, for staying involved with the city. I'll always remember what you accomplished while you were interim public works director here for so many different people in Commerce City. Thank you very much. Next.
For speakers, we have Jackie Valdez.
Good evening, council, city management, mayor. Again, we're addressing the situation with the ATVs, the motorbikes, the semis, the dump trucks, the asphalt trucks, the concrete trucks. We're not really getting a lot of results over there. It's still a continuous thing. My concern now is school is getting ready to let out. So the children are going to be playing nonstop, consistently in that area. And for some reason, they have a tendency to play on the side of my house on 68th, at the park and at the school. I've begged, I've pleaded, I've asked. I don't know what else to do. But we do need to address this situation because it's getting worse. The businesses around there are taking the opportunity to drive through if they're coming from Colorado to Brighton Boulevard or from Brighton Boulevard to Colorado Boulevard, including the deliveries for the schools. The ATVs, well, it's an ongoing thing. I did hear about the drone program. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Management. Thank you, Police Department. But I'm also hearing that we're not going to have as much control over that situation as we thought we were going to. So my question is what is the city going to start doing to protect us? Because obviously we've not been protected. My fence is a prime example of non-protection. So what I'd like to know is what is the council, the city management, and the police department going to do to protect us? We've begged, we've pleaded, we've asked, we've gave scenarios of the situation. And again, there's even now a motorbike that comes through, and he's a dirt bike, riding wheelies down the street. Last time council I was here, I had addressed that. Well, he's still doing it. You know, we also found out that we don't have animal control when we need them either. And the police department is having to address the situation when we should have at least one per south and per north on the evenings and on the weekends to address the animal situation. We don't need to see these animals hit on the side of the road and left there for roadkill. And that's what Commerce City's been doing. Seen it several times. And I don't like to see it. And you know what? We are taxpayers and we don't want to see it. So I'm asking now, what is the situation with the drones? And what is the city going to start doing to protect us? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Valdez. I know the city manager was listening to you and will be dealing with this administratively. Appreciate it.
And our last in-person speaker will be Keith Rogers.
Evening, Council, Mayor. Couple things on this habitual ATV guy that nobody can catch because nobody shows up in time. Twice I've been called from somebody sitting in the frickin' office, not a patrol person. Well, we're trying to address this. We're trying to, no. What am I supposed to do? Go follow the guy home, give him your address? That's not my job. My job's to call in. It's your job to find these guys and get them off the road. I was also told that they were going to impound these things. Had an officer tell me, no, we can't impound them. Okay, are we going to impound them or are we not? Do the citizens take care of these guys? Or is the police department going to do something? Next thing is, good luck finding another grocery store to move to Commerce City. Because this deal with the shopping carts that the homeless are taking to haul all their crap around, if you're going to start ticketing the stores for that, that's not going to work. Nobody's going to want to move to Commerce City that has grocery carts because they're going to be afraid their carts are going to get stolen and they're going to be responsible and ticketed for that and fined for that. That's another reason you'll never get much in Commerce City. I mean, same with restaurants. You tax everybody to death, excuse me, and they're not going to want to come here. So that's going to be another problem. Also on the drones, I was told the other night when I called in on the ATV again that the drone process isn't even going yet. I'm sorry, but the news seems to think so. The neighborhood seems to think so. So is it off the ground? Is it in motion or not? You know, we want something over there. We're tired of calling in and calling in and calling in. We're habitual callers. The one gal at AdCom knows me by name, knows my phone number by heart, because I've called in so much. We need to take care of it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rogers. If there's further discussion, we'll be doing that during administrative council business. There's a fairly short agenda tonight, so that won't be long. Thank you. I do have a question for Mr. Van Hughes. We didn't hear where the pollinator garden was.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry. The pollinator garden will be at the wetland loop. It'll be between the restrooms and one of the picnic areas. And the wetland loop is actually the Front Range trailhead. It's at 52nd and Ivy.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All righty. We're moving on to the consent agenda. It includes items that are routine, procedural, informational, self-explanatory, or non-controversial. These items are presented to council for a single motion and vote. Any member of the council may ask to remove a specific item off the consent agenda for further discussion and a separate vote. Tonight, there are 14 items on the consent agenda. Councilmember Douglas.
Yes, I would like to request that Resolution 2025-052, resolution authorizing award. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. I'm sorry. All right, it's the one right ahead of it. Proclamation 25-021, declaring June 2025 as LGBTQIA plus Pride Month in Commerce City, Colorado.
All right, thank you. And does anyone else want to pull an item? I'd like to pull Resolution 2025-052. And Mayor Douglas.
Yes, did you say 2025-052?
I did.
Okay, that's the one I was gonna pull. Thank you.
All righty. Anyone else? Okay. I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as amended.
So moved.
And Councilmember Teeter?
Second.
Thank you.
Your vote is open for the consent agenda. Mayor Douglas, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Chacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. And Councilmember Kim, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you want me to share this out too? Cool. Minutes of the May 5th, 2025 regular meeting. Ordinance 2672, an ordinance repealing sections 2-4301 through 2-4303 of the Commerce City Revised Municipal Code and adding a new section 6 of Chapter 2 to the CCRMC to consolidate and codify a code of ethics for the City of Commerce City. Ordinance 2675, an ordinance amending the 2025 budget of the City of Commerce City, Colorado by the recognition of the Off-System Bridge Program Grant Award in the amount of $720,000 for the rehabilitation of the bridge at Tower Road and Third Creek. Ordinance 2678, an ordinance amending the 2025 budget of the City of Commerce City, Colorado by recognition of the Natural Disaster Mitigation Enterprise Grant Funds in the amount of $300,000 for the wildland fire mitigation and the authorization of the expenditure thereof. Ordinance 2679, an ordinance amending the 2025 budget of the City of Commerce City by reappropriating remaining donations and grants balances in the general fund, police donations fund, and grants fund totaling $444,136.72 and authorizing the expenditure thereof. Ordinance 2680, an ordinance amending the 2025 budget of the City of Commerce City by reappropriating remaining Metropolitan Football Stadium District funding balances in the amount of $16,430.19 for the continued use on youth activities and authorizing the expenditure thereof. Ordinance 2681, an ordinance authorizing the lease of equipment, including mobile speed units, and the execution of the city by the city of a master services agreement with American Traffic Solutions Incorporated, doing business as Vera Mobility, authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute an agreement setting forth parameters and restrictions and providing for other related matters. Resolution 2025-068, a resolution authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute an amendment to the professional services agreement with Kendig Keast Collaborative Incorporated. Resolution 2025-070, a resolution appointing members to designated boards and commissions of Commerce City. Resolution 2025-080, a resolution amending council policy number CP14 following the codification of a city ethics code in the Commerce City Revised Municipal Code. Resolution 2025-081, a resolution amending council policy CP25 to clarify the process for receiving and reviewing complaints. And Resolution 2025-082, a resolution amending council policy 2 to add language governing the conduct of city council members and appointed officials that was previously in CP14.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Douglas, would you like to discuss Proclamation 25-021?
Most certainly I would. Thank you so much. So I took this off the consent agenda a couple of weeks ago. We had a vote to take all proclamations off the agenda and put them on the consent agenda. And so going forward, that will be the case. But I really feel that our proclamations are extremely important, especially to the citizens who are honored by having these proclamations read. And so with that, I do have a copy of this proclamation, and I would ask that our very own Scott Van Heusen please come to the podium, and if you could pick this up from me, I would like to have it read so that everyone can understand how important this proclamation is to be not only recognized, but to be voted on. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Whereas Pride Month celebrates the gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual or LGBTQIA+ community, along with various other sexual and gender minorities and cultural, economic, and government contributions to the Commerce City and the nation. And whereas in June, the nation celebrates the anniversary of the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in New York, where the LGBTQIA+ community united to the protest of the injustices that they faced and commemorates the contributions that queer people of color made and led to the liberation. These such as leaders of transgender women of color, Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, who continually fought for the equity despite the risk of violence and imprisonment. Whereas the LGBTQIA+ community continues to fight for equity in all realms, including housing, employment, health, and safety, including fighting against recent anti-LGBTQIA+ bills across the nation that specifically target our transgender and non-binary community members, all of which result in emotional and physical implications like suicide rates among transgender and non-binary youth being the highest in the nation's history, and increased violence against transgender women of color, and whereas LGBTQIA+ community members and allies in Commerce City and across the nation promote awareness of these injustices and work towards inclusivity and equity for all gendered identities and sexual orientations. And despite these injustices, the LGBTQIA+ community continues to demonstrate their pride and fight for deserved equity in all areas, that they positively contribute to the nation and to Commerce City and our businesses, schools, human services, and neighborhoods. And whereas Commerce City honors the contributions and timeless efforts of the LGBTQIA community and encourages residents to actively stand up against injustices and seek knowledge about the diversity of all gender identities and sexual orientations. Now, therefore, the City Council of Commerce City, Colorado declares June 2025 to be LGBTQIA+ Pride Month in Commerce City and encourages all community members to join in celebrating our country's diversity and create opportunities for equity and justice.
Thank you, Mr. Van Huzen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember, for bringing this forward.
Thank you.
I will now ask for a motion. Yes, thank you. I'll ask for a motion and a second to approve Proclamation 25-021. Councilmember Douglas?
I would like to express my thanks in making this motion. Thank you, Scott, for reading that without anticipating that you were going to be reading it, and the emotion showed through. And thank you for reading that. With that, I'd like to make the motion to approve proclamation declaring June 2025 as LGBTQIA+ Pride Month in Commerce City, Colorado.
Thank you. Councilmember Chacon?
I would like to second. Grateful for you, Scott Van Huzen.
All right, we'll have a roll call vote.
Your vote is open. Mayor Douglas, how do you vote?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Chacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. And Councilmember Kim, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mayor Douglas, on Resolution 2025-052, would you like to speak to that, please?
Sure.
Oh, it passes. Sorry, it passes unanimously with 2 absences.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to talk about Resolution 2025-052. A question I have is, on this design, it says a diversion diamond, so I'm assuming it's going to be the road being separated over Highway 85 instead of the train, a grade separation, working with the rail, have a design that the railroad tracks are raised up would make more sense. And the Highway 85 being raised up as well, going north and south. So I don't see how this is going to be designed. It doesn't say. It does say working with, let's see, Feltberg, Holt, and Gulving. Probably said it wrong. The city manager, do you know, or could you explain the way this is being asked to design this interchange?
If I may, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. So this contract is not for design services, it's for preliminary engineering. So we're not at a point where we can design or fund design. This is simply data collection, risk assessment, and coming up with what we believe would be a functional design in partnership with Brighton, Adams County, and CDOT. So no design is in the works at this point.
Okay, so basically, this could go either way, grade separation of the train tracks or the road, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And if that's the case, I will, because I did talk to them early on about this and Commerce City being in the process, because we should have a say-so how this is going to impact our residents.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very expensive and large project, so we just have to take small bites at the apple as we can. And since we have this grant opportunity to take care of that preliminary engineering, it gets us a step in the right direction so we can be competitive for future funding opportunities for design and construction.
Okay. Is there a timeline on this as far as the process?
On the overall project or just the preliminary design?
It says it's a 2-year and 2-month contract, so it's probably going to.
Correct, and that's to go through that risk assessment, data collection, et cetera. And in that 2 years, we would continue to pursue other funding opportunities, continue to collaborate with the jurisdictions that we're partnering with and already have IGAs with outlined in your council communication. And then once we do get to design, that's when our citizen outreach would begin.
Okay. All right. So there's be a process where council and the community can
Absolutely.
speak out to that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Once we get to that phase, we certainly will be before you and residents. We know it's a large, high-profile project.
Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course.
Any other questions? Councilmember Douglas?
Yes, thank you. Will we be getting a breakdown on how this money is spent? Because part of it is property acquisition. I know that there have been tenants on that property that have already vacated. And so are there presently contracts in place for property acquisition?
No, we're not at that point yet.
Not at that point. Will we be able to see how this money is going to be spread out on this project?
City manager?
I think, ma'am, that's a conversation that we can have when we get to that stage. I would think right now where we are currently focused is continuing to secure the necessary funding for the totality of the project. We're not there as it currently stands. To be completely honest with you, ma'am, we're endeavoring right now, as you heard from Interim Director Hahn, with the engineering, which is obviously tantamount for this project. We're continuing with our partners in Brighton, the county, as well as CDOT, to continue to put our best foot forward to being able to secure the remaining tranche, so that we can then be able to talk about how we then look at the project in its as a whole, and then we can talk about how we, not just to you as our council, but to obviously all of the partners, how we look at sharing the project funding and how that is being broken out to all of the community stakeholders from a transparent perspective. Because everybody has some skin in this game, and everybody will have transparency questions and expectations with respect to how that's being expended, but also how it's actually coming along from a construction and from a design perspective. So I think we'll want to have that holistically when we get to that stage. But right now, we're just needing to try to get to that point. So I can't say that we've had that in the main to that extent yet.
Okay, well, I think that we should have oversight on this. That's one of the things that I feel we've been lacking on a lot of things is oversight. And so 3 million plus is not a drop in the bucket. It's a relatively large chunk of change, so to speak, and I understand that this is a Chrissy grant, and so, but it's still taxpayer money. And knowing that there's already been businesses that have shut down and vacated there, and I want things to be fair and transparent. I don't want to overpay for property because it is the taxpayer dollars. And so I will support this. I'm glad it was taken off the consent agenda. I almost accidentally took it off, circling the wrong agenda item on my printout. But I'm glad that someone else brought this up, and the reason that I didn't was because I didn't feel prepared enough to bring it forward. I'm glad that someone else did. But I think we owe it to our residents to know where their money's going, wherever it comes from, if federal grant or whatever. So, as I said, I will be in support, but I will also be expecting to hear updates on a consistent basis, and not at the last round where it's like, oh, well, everything's in place, so, we need a yes from you. That can't happen anymore going further forward. Sorry. Yeah, I will be a yes, but I want this tracked. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Douglas. Councilmember Dukes?
No.
Oh, that was left over. Thank you very much. Okay. Mayor Douglas?
Thank you, sorry. I forgot to mention that it does say as a request of property acquisition for East 120th Avenue and US 85 grade separated diversion diamond interchange project. So property acquisition is in the request?
The exploration of the necessary right-of-way that we would need, not necessarily property acquisition to how I think we were speaking about it earlier, but existing right-of-way. But the vast majority of this funding is for the preliminary engineering. So going through that on-site data collection and preparing what the engineers believe would be the best design. And before we even got to the design point, to the city manager's point and to Councilmember Douglas's point, that's when we'd be able to engage you all because we'd have something tangible. We'll have gone through the risks, we'll have gone through the data, and before we go out to bid, we can certainly have that discussion.
Okay. So can there be a pause on that property acquisition piece, or is that something that needs to be in there so when we come to that point, we can have a discussion?
So that was a part of the grant that was awarded. I'm not sure what amending that scope of the Chrissy grant would look like. That's not a process I've been through before.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna keep an eye on that property acquisition piece. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I need a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2025-052. Councilor Teeter?
I move for approval of Resolution 2025-052. Council is seated.
And Councilmember Dukes?
Second.
Thank you. All right. Clerk, could you read the title and take a roll call vote?
Resolution 2025-052, a resolution authorizing award of Felsberg, Holt, and Ulvig Incorporated, a professional services agreement for preliminary engineering and property acquisition for the East 120th Avenue and US 85 interchange project. Your vote is open. Mayor Douglas, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Chacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. And Councilmember Kim, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Douglas? Thank you.
All right, the vote is unanimous with 2 absences. Next, we move to Resolution 2025-055. This is an amendment to concrete flat work contract. Do we have staff speaking to this?
I believe is whether or not there are questions of staff, ma'am.
Well, I'm going to have staff speak to it. Thank you. About the concrete flat work contract.
Is there a specific
Yes,
question?
could you describe it?
Sure. So as a part of our ongoing CIP preventative maintenance projects, we do pavement management programs every year. Concrete flat work is lumped into that pavement management program. So this is just our 2025 concrete flat work plan. We have 8 different streets identified for this initial work to be done in the summer through fall.
Okay, could you describe the streets for the public, please?
Sure. So we'll be, and this is the streets I'm about to say, full disclosure, we're not doing the work on the full scope of the street, right? The full length, but we'll be doing work on Heartland Drive, Blackhawk Street, Turnberry Parkway, East 106th Place, Revere Street, Wheeling, Havana, Bell Creek Boulevard, Longs Peak Drive, East 70th Avenue, Niagara, East 56, Dahlia, East 50th, and Pontiac.
Thank you.
And, oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's good. Thank
Okay.
you. Mayor Douglas.
Yes. Let's see. Hold on. Sorry about that. I thought I was on mute and I wasn't. Sorry. Question. Now, this is for flat concrete work, and you said streets. So is
Yeah.
this concrete streets?
It's concrete flat work on those, in and around the streets, yes.
Okay. I know last year there's a lot of concrete flat work done in the south. They deal with curb and gutters and the aprons. Some were 4 feet crossed. And then there were some that were 5 feet, 0.5, some were 6, but maybe on the average, maybe 5 feet in a linear foot. Do you know how much concrete was laid last year for concrete work in the south?
Not off of the top of my head, but we could certainly pull that information.
Okay. The reason why I asked, I mean, I appreciate City Manager Rogers bringing this up for us having a resolution, is to talk about concrete work in the north because of the separation from the streets, which we have tree lawns areas, and how many sidewalks have been affected. And some are minor repairs that could be, we could be stone grind down to actually where they were lifted up to make them even on both sides. Maybe that would help. And then maybe concrete panels to be replaced. Now, do you know if the depth of those concrete panels are 2 inches, 3 inches?
I do not know what the depth of those concrete panels in that area are, no.
Okay, all right. And I know I asked the council for extra money for this year's budget for that type of concrete work, knowing that there's issues from the northern area. Last year, the combined flat work price was $545,406 for concrete flat work last year, but then there was a combined with some of the additional work that brought that total up to $850,000. So this year, I know that this is really the second year for this contractor for Gold Star, because last year they were the ones who got the bid, so they were able to do a 2-year bid, if so elected. So that was approved for them to be the second go around. So I'm asking if there could be some sort of a linear foot of replacement or fixtures in the northern area of concrete flat work with the tree lawn separation And then if there are seniors that their sidewalk is effective, that we use part of the ARPA funding that was approved for those improvements.
So I believe City Manager Rogers would like to speak to that.
Okay.
So thank you for that, Mayor. You may remember that you all have already given some guidance to staff to explore in a separate discussion, which our staff is already conducting some due diligence and research. Our point of contact, Mr. Jim Tolbert, who is leading that effort, is not with us today. He is on leave, so we will not be able to get an update on that for a couple of weeks. But with what you have on focus today is what is our standard concrete flat work proposal, which is our standardized program for concrete flat work that you find in our core city and or in our northern range. Now, no different than our pavement maintenance. If there is any additional roadways or scope of work that you would like to be addressed, obviously the recommendation that we would bring forward is any change orders or additional scope of services that we would take out to request for bid with additional costs for service that we would ultimately then bring back to this council for additional appropriation. Once again, what you're bringing forward and what you're requesting, sir, is the formation of a program that we do not currently have established, and that due diligence is something that we are looking at. Once again, the cost would also be associated with that addressing of that impact that you've asked us to look into.
Okay. Now, is that for the tree lawn areas and then a senior program for those homeowners who are seniors and need home improvements?
Yes, so that would have to be obviously criteria based. And this is something that we're looking at internally for those that are of a certain demographic, both on a classification of age, but also a classification, like I said, of other demographics. So that way, we are looking at it from an equitable standard, no different than how we treat other programs that we have within our city that we apply for services, particularly when it comes to either from our CDBG or our ARPA, and we would bring that forward to you as council as well, so that once again we do not create any potential risk or exposure to the city. So once again, that due diligence is being ran by our point of contact who's not here, but once again, we would have that discussion with you all once we've conducted that and been able to lay out why we brought that forward to you based on those criteria.
All right. So is there any way tonight on this contract flat work proposals that we could consider with submittal from homeowners of concrete that needs to be fixed or replaced, and then get a certain percentage and then have that come back before council to get approved?
Yeah, what I would say, Mayor, like what I'm trying to do is pattern this after the pavement management conversation that we had.
Okay.
If there is additional roadways or concrete areas that are in need of repair, then you can make a motion of having staff put a scope of work together for that additional work, or to look at or to have staff to make a consideration for that additional scope of service, but to take action on what you have before you tonight. Because we cannot say with any level of certainty that the vendor today could do the work beyond what is on the agenda, what is contracted for on the agenda.
Okay.
So we don't want to hold up what is prescribed, subscribed tonight, which is obviously important work to be done for our concrete flat work. But we can ultimately still continue our due diligence for what you're bringing up by going out to bid and understanding what the cost would be and coming back at a future meeting with what that dollar amount may be, and then getting that appropriated so that we can then take that forward as well.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Mayor, excuse me
Yeah.
for, we actually don't have a clock operating, so I do have two other speakers. Can we come
No
back to
problem.
you if you have
Yes.
further questions?
You sure can. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Dukes?
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-055 as read.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I was still on discussion, though.
I'll come back to you.
Okay, I'll second
We
that.
can have discussion after a motion. You'll second it? Okay. All right, so I'm not going to take the vote. We just move into discussion. Councilmember Teeter?
I just wanted to report that I was up at Bell Creek yesterday, walking Bell Creek Boulevard, and they've already started the process of grinding off the high spots, making them level with the other pad. So they've already started that work, at least in Bell Creek. So I just thought I'd let you know that.
Separate from this contract, but
Yes.
we are doing work up there.
Yeah. Yes, it's already started, but
And Councilmember Douglas?
Thank you, and thank you for coming to the podium and making an unexpected presentation.
Oh, that's all right. Happy to do it.
Really appreciate it. So this is what's going to be done in the next annual period, is that?
This would be slated for 2025. We would be able to start hopefully in, mid to end of June on this program.
So how can other concerned citizens weigh in their issues going forward as far as problems that they're having with their street, like with concrete flat work replacement?
If it's a sidewalk-related question, that would be the program that City Manager Rogers just referenced that Assistant City Manager Jim Tolbert is looking into. If it is a street-related concern or something else, residents can always submit a C-Click fix, and we can determine if that's something we can handle in-house or if we would need to add it to a future list.
Very good. I really appreciate that. So this has nothing to do with concrete replacement as far as fixing like a drainage issue or anything like that?
Not a resident-reported drainage issue, but, so a really good example of concrete flat work would be bringing pedestrian crossings into ADA compliance.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
All right. Mayor Douglas, did you have a final comment?
Yes. Last year, it did give a scope of the work, the actual work that's going to be done. And I didn't see that in our in the council's communication or in this any kind of line item.
I think City Attorney Zarzeki is ready to answer your question.
Okay.
That's a great question, Mayor. So what you'll see is the resolutions before you all for contracts, technically under the charter and under the code, is you're authorizing the city manager to enter and negotiate a finalized agreement, which is why you don't have a scope of work or even a draft agreement anymore. What you have is the explanation of what the project is or what the contract is intended to be used for under the council communication. And from my office, is my personal perspective, that's the appropriate way to do it. I understand historically there had been instances where we had a draft contract or a draft scope of work that would be included in the agenda. My concern there, Mayor, is that it's draft, it's not a final form, it hasn't been agreed to by the parties, and it creates confusion if anyone leaves this room thinking that that is the final scope that you're approving.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of hard to approve a scope without seeing it. Like last year, the city received 6 bids from contractors. The lowest bid was Gold Star contract, and then it showed what the scope of work to be done. And then it says additional work with added change orders since there is an available funding remaining below. And so that's what they included, the 2024 sidewalk connectivity budget, from the connectivity budget, and the core city improvements at 100,000, bringing the grand total to 850,000. So the prior 2 years, it was done that way. So if we are approving this resolution to enter, for the city manager into a contract, will we see this come back to us with the scope of work that's included?
The short answer is no. There will not be a scope of work that's provided. And this is applicable to any any contract that the council is authorizing the city manager to approve over that $250,000 threshold.
Okay, because like I said, this is different than it was the last 2 years, so that's why I was asking. All right, thank you.
I think this is a problem in search of a solution. And the solution is not a no, but how do we get to yes? So the yes would be, how do we have a study session to discuss roads and pavement and flat work, to know within our different wards where the problem areas are? And we could then have that conversation, and that could be the consideration for staff to then go forward on contracts or to prioritize various projects. It is not an answer to say, no, we can't know where this is occurring. We have to figure out how to learn where it's occurring or be part of the conversation, and I would suggest a study session. Meantime, okay, Councilmember Douglas, did you have another comment, or had I not cleared this?
I believe you just didn't clear it.
All righty, thank you. I'm going to call the question now for the amendment to concrete flat work contract, Resolution 2025-055. We do have a first and a second, so all we need is a roll call vote.
Resolution 2025-055, a resolution authorizing an amendment to the construction contract agreement with Gold Star Concrete Incorporated for the city's annual concrete flatwork projects. Your vote is open. Mayor Douglas, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Chacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. And Councilmember Kim?
I need clarification. What exactly is the amendment that we're trying to vote for here?
So this,
Excuse me, City Attorney Zarzeki, we have a question from a council member mid-vote.
Yeah, so if the vote is on the floor, then the vote should proceed.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry,
And without
Councilmember Kim.
Then without further clarification, if this is some form of amendment, then I'm not quite understanding that because the call to vote was already put in before clarification could be provided. I will say no.
Thank you, Councilmember Kim. We did have every opportunity to give people, every council member a chance to speak.
You did not.
Will we continue
You went
with the
straight
vote?
right into the vote. So thank you.
Would you continue? That was a no. Did we get Councilmember Chacon? Okay. All right. So the vote is 6-1. The motion passes. All right. Now we are also amending the Directory of Fees for Metro Districts, Resolution 2025-056. And Jordan Roberts, Senior Policy Analyst, will present.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council. Jordan Roberts, Senior Policy Analyst for the City Manager's Office. 1 second while I pull up the presentation. So tonight, we're going to talk about updating our Metro District fees. Some background and context. On January 6, 2025, per Ordinance 2661, Council repealed the moratorium on the processing of new service plans for residential metropolitan districts. Following the repeal, staff worked to streamline and update the application process for metro districts in accordance with the new regulations for metro districts outlined in Ordinance 2549. Reviewing and updating the city fees associated with metro districts was one of those action items identified. The CMO, Community Development, Finance, and Legal worked collaboratively to update the fees associated with processing a metro district service application and enforcement of applicable service plans. As we go through the update, the annual oversight fee amount will go towards the yearly audit of metro districts in Commerce City, which I have to make an update once we get to that part of the presentation. The review fees are based on the average hourly rate of full-time employees and the estimated time to process an application. Other applications, as defined by the Commerce City Municipal Code, and enforcement will be based on the same average hourly rate and will be the actual cost of time spent by staff. The average hourly rate will be updated yearly on January 1st and kept on file in community development. Costs associated with third-party consultants for legal, financial, or other services associated with the review of an application or enforcement with the passed directly through to an applicant or metro district. The new process for processing a metro district service plan application will go live on June 1st. And as we get into the fee update, fees are outlined in the Commerce City Revised Municipal Code, Section 13-1003. With an annual oversight fee of $500 per district per year. This fee will be used to continue the annual audits of all metro districts in Commerce City. And this is where we have a little bit of an update. There was a problem with the math. This works out to approximately $37,000 annually, not $14,500. As we get into the service plan review fees, the conceptual review letter is going to be $1,500. The concept letter is an overview of new metro district service plans being contemplated in Commerce City. New service plan review, so this is a new service plan going through the official review process through community development, will be $2,500. Modification or amendment is $1,500, and modifications are substantial modifications or amendments to already established service plans that require the approval of City Council. Other applications, this is outlined also in Chapter 13 of the Commerce City Revised Municipal Code, will be the actual costs. Staff felt that sometimes these can be a little too broad. There's nothing very specific about this. So other applications will include any requests that fall outside of the conceptual review letter, new service plan review, or modifications. Enforcement fee will also be actual costs. So enforcement covers administrative action taken by staff for metro districts that are operating outside of the City Council approved surface plan. And then third-party services will be a pass-through. So this will include, again, those financial, legal, or other administrative services procured by the city to process an application or for enforcement. With all of that being said, this is now discussion and question time.
Thank you. Do any council members have comments or questions? Could someone give me the full, thank you. Councilmember Dukes?
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. Just a couple of clarifying questions. One is, can you clarify, this is, so with the oversight fee, $500 per district, is this new districts or is this the existing districts?
This will be all existing districts.
All existing districts?
Yep.
And can you talk about the process for talking with those district boards to let them know or outreach or stakeholder engagement around this specific cost? Was there any for the existing boards?
So we're going to be developing a communications plan in partnership with community development, but I don't think any outreach has been done as of right now. But we'll make sure that we get the word out to all of the Metro District boards that this is a fee that is required by the municipal code.
And what about the landowners and developers? Did you guys talk to them about this upcoming fee? I know they knew about the service plan and the oversight need for a fee, but this dollar amount, was there any outreach done for that part of it?
There was no direct outreach done for the annual oversight fee. What staff did is figured what the internal cost is right now for the annual audit, which is roughly about $15,000. And so we kept it within the parameter that would be feasible to cover that. And then should we need to go out for additional services for an audit?
Okay. And then is the same process for the fee updates, or there was nothing sent out yet to inform them about this dollar amount?
No, not yet.
Oh, not yet. Can you give me a time frame when this will be communicated? You said like you have a development plan or outreach, but what are you thinking in terms of time frame?
I'm thinking last week of May and then reiterating this throughout the process as new applications and modifications and amendments come in.
Okay, and then if there's the applicant and they do a modification, will they require, so it's $1,500 for the amendment or modification. Will that include another, so there'll be $500 for the oversight in general?
Yep.
Plus, if they have a modification, it's the $1,500.
Yes.
Will they have to do conceptual, do they have to go to the next process, like a conceptual review, new service plan review? Do they have to pay all these fees if they want a modification?
I believe the modification only contemplates just the modification fees. So the conceptual review letter is tied to a new service plan.
Okay.
So that's letting the city know, and then we can work with the applicant to let them know the process, regulations, and then they can also communicate to the city what service plan is going to achieve for the residents.
Okay, thank you. And then the last with the enforcement actual cost. The way I read this, just for point of clarification, that any enforcement, so if they're out of compliance, it'll be up to the Metro District staff to pay for whatever needs to get back in compliance? Is that?
It will cover the actual cost of staff time that it takes to work with a Metro District that is currently out of compliance. So
Okay.
that's just for internal staff perspective.
And what does that process look like? Is that a bill that we send to their Metro District?
It would be an invoice, yes.
It'll be an invoice to the Metro District if they're out of compliance. Okay. And then I guess the last point of clarification, this is needed as we think about the approval of the ordinance 2261 for any Metro districts moving forward to start in June 1st, right?
Yep.
If this is delayed, then it would delay it another several months if the fees are not clarified?
If the fees are not approved, then yes, our go-live date of June 1st would be pushed back until we could bring the resolution back to council.
Okay. And then the one last question is around the actual oversight audit itself. I know we had an audit this year. So the annual audit comes from the ordinance, I'm assuming, right? The annual audit. Was there talk in general outside of the fees, like how we use the audit in the future? Or is it just a part of the
Not
compliance
to
fees?
my understanding. I could ask City Manager Rogers if there's any update that we have for the audit moving forward.
And sorry, City Manager, I guess my big question is like, is there time to talk through, when we had the audit earlier this year, there was some challenges around what we audited, how deep we went, how far it went. And so I'm wondering, like, we're gonna have the same issue with this audit? Or is there time to correct that policy?
There's always time to have discussion. I would say when we last spoke about the scope of work that fed into the audit discussion, it was in the March timeframe. We then held the discussion in the July, August timeframe. If we're trying to dovetail it around the typical timeframe when we would anticipate a submission, and if we're trying to track it around an annual timeframe of when those would come in, we really wouldn't anticipate a real scoping discussion of that until some timeframe in Q3.
Okay.
Because new service plan submittals wouldn't be due until the October timeframe, given that's when they're expected by the state.
Okay.
On an annual basis. So we have a window of opportunity as the city to talk about what worked well, what did not work well, what questions did the council feel were left unanswered, what you all would love to have dug into more. Now, once again, you're establishing a fee that's based off of a methodology that was established on last year's audit model. If you're going to change anything within the methodology going forward, obviously the fee's not going to reflect that. So if you look at the kind of straight-laced approach of how we have established it within the City of Directory fees today, you're not going to recoup what is going to be in place. So you just have to keep that in mind. So there'd have to be some adjustments with obviously any changes that would be discussed within this window of opportunity. But once again, there's always opportunity.
Thank you. Mayor Douglas?
Thank you. Thank you, Jordan, for this presentation and the explanation. And I do understand the scope of work, especially with amendment or modification, if there's going to be within these service plans in the future. And I would be voting yes tonight because I don't want to hold this up and make it even more complicated than it has been. I think the message has been clear. It's been out there for 2 years of moratorium. At that time, I believe we could have wrapped up some more loopholes, but that didn't happen. But here we are. So I do like how this is presented because it presents a very clear message of how Metro districts are supposed to operate now and into the future. So thank you.
Councilmember Douglas.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you for obvious hard work on this, Jordan and the staff. So whoever worked on this with you, the hard work shows through. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I have questions. So constituents in Ward 4 often get nervous when they're hearing more fees, especially considering the cost of some of the Metro District fees in that area. So a question was, are we duplicating effort of the Metro District itself with audits?
I would say no, and I can look to City Manager Rogers or City Attorney Zarzeki, but the audit is an internal perspective for the city to evaluate how Metro districts are operating within the city. So I wouldn't say it's a duplication.
Yeah, I would agree. My understanding is the audit is to ensure that they're complying with the service plan. So it would be a different review than what the Metro District would be statutorily obligated to do.
Okay, thank you very much. And I am looking forward to having these fees for new Metro districts that will help us ensure that these are being enforced along the way instead of playing catch up as we've had to do. So this is really great. Thank you very much. Does anyone else have comments or questions? Nope, already. So I am looking for a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2025-055. Councilmember Teeter?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-055. Council is seated.
And I see Mayor Douglas.
Yes, second that. Thank you.
Thank you. For the record, for any people who are on Zoom right now, any council members on Zoom, my screen only shows one of you at a time. So I don't know if anyone else raised their hand. Thank you. All right, let's take a vote. Can the clerk read the title and take a roll call vote? Thank you.
To clarify, this is for Resolution 2025-056. It is a resolution amending the Directory of City Fees and Charges to modify the fees pertaining to metropolitan districts. Your vote is open. Mayor Douglas, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Chacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. And Councilmember Kim, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to ask for reconsideration of Resolution 2025-055, which was the amendment to concrete flatwork contract. And I would like the vote was unanimous, by the way, with 2 absences on Resolution 2025-056. So back to 2025-055. I'd like Mr. Zarzaki to speak to the fact that I'm calling for a reconsideration.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So a question was posed by Councilmember Kim. I think there was some lack of clarity, and he was seeking clarity. In retrospect, I believe that was a point of information that he was seeking. The Mayor Pro Tem asked me if he could speak at that time, and I said no because there was a vote on the floor. That is, I've looked at Bob's rules. My apologies to the council, that is incorrect. So pursuant to Bob's rules, a point of information can be brought by any of you at any time to seek clarification. It's a time urgent request. So to that extent, the Mayor Pro Tem is requesting a motion to reconsider. A motion to reconsider requires 2/3 of the body's vote. In order to, if you were to approve that motion to reconsider, it then allows some clarification for Councilmember Kim on the underlying motion for the contract that was before all of you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for reconsideration of Resolution 2025-055, please? Mayor Douglas?
So moved.
All right, thank you.
So moved.
And a second? Councilmember Douglas?
I'll second that, please.
All righty. Now, if the clerk will do a roll call vote, please. Unless there's discussion. Anyone want to discuss this? All right, thank you.
Your vote is open. Mayor Douglas, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Chacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. And Councilmember Kim, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, that's unanimous with 2 absences, so we pass the 2/3 threshold. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I was incorrect. That's 6-1, 1 no vote and 2 absences, but we nevertheless pass the 2/3 threshold, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you very much. All righty. Councilmember Kim, you have a question.
No, I'm good. I actually had the clarification already needed. Didn't get a chance to ask the question I needed to during the time of the voting. So as I did not have the opportunity, but thank you.
All right. So, seeing no further requests, Councilmember Dukes, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-055.
Councilmember Douglas?
I'll second that, please.
All righty, thank you. Clerk, will you read the title and take a roll call vote, please?
Resolution 2025-055, a resolution authorizing an amendment to the construction contract agreement with Gold Star Concrete Incorporated for the city's annual concrete flatwork projects. Your vote is open. Mayor Douglas, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Chacon?
Yes.
Thank you. And Councilmember Kim?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, this is unanimous with 2 council members absent. Thank you. All right, we're moving now to administrative business. Does anyone have items of an emergency or unforeseen circumstance or wish to address earlier public comment? Councilmember Dukes? He does not. Okay. Oh, you do? All right.
Just some of the conversation early on around some of the challenges in our core part of the city. I wanted to ask City Manager Rogers, I know, I guess the question is around, do we have, there's a trespass trespass amendment that some cities do where police have an opportunity to address things on private property when a property owner is not there. Do we have something like that in place in our city where that we can be more reactive for the police and the police department, especially on private property?
Yes, sir. What I believe you're speaking about is a trespass agreement. What that means is that it is an agreement in place where PD has an opportunity to enforce trespass where a business owner is not present. So it allows for us to be able to take action where we know that there has been a consistent concern of trespass on premise at that location. There are a handful of municipalities in the Front Range that have similar practices. We as a city have a similar one and have used it for some time. We do have that and have been using that as well. We do not and have not, I would say, broadly socialized that throughout the business community. That is something that I know has come up during our small business task force. It is something that I wouldn't say has been shared within a correspondence with you all as a recommendation, I say poignantly, but it's something that I know we're talking about internally about how do we broadly get that out more aggressively to the community, business community as is, so that we can have that as one of our tools that kind of help them be more successful in their just general welfare, safety as a tool.
Okay.
So that way they have another safety net when they're not there after their business has locked up for the night or for the day.
And do you need anything from us as council to help that policy be activated a little bit more to help address or curb some of the criminal activity in some of the private property?
No, sir, that's completely operational. So, it's just something, like I said, while we have it, we've had it as a tool and we've been using it. It's just, once again, activating it from a socialization as far as communication and getting it into the hands of our other departments more broadly and communicating it within the business community.
Okay, and thank you. And let us know when you guys talk through that. I'd love to be able to share some of that stuff on social media so that folks know, and also during town halls or whatnot, folks know about that opportunity so they can help some of the small businesses and businesses in general.
Thank you.
Councilmember Douglas.
Thank you. So I'm not looking to make any motions or anything like that tonight, but I think there's a couple of things that I would like to have clarified in order to maybe address some of the issues that have been coming my way, not only tonight, but during the past couple of weeks. I think a lot of people saw the news story about the drones, and I was curious to find out how long they've been in use, because the report said that they've been used for years, and I thought it was a little bit misleading. And so if that question could be answered, but also this question as well, if we are putting the drones in place, is there any way that we can use those to monitor speeding? Or I know we have the mobile units that are coming up that we've contracted for, but like to identify ATVs and where they're being taken back to when they're finished using them, and then also maybe an update on the possibility of getting impounding in place. And then the other thing that I would like to talk about is homelessness. So is there any possibility of talking about the drones first?
So, yes, drones, easy, that's an easy one. So no, drones have not been used in longstanding. Drones have just been most recently used because there is what is called beyond the visual line of sight. And that requires a FAA waiver in order to be able to be used. We, as I share with you all just this most recently last week, we received our waiver of that from the FAA not 2 Saturdays ago. Okay. So just to be abundantly clear about that. And that's extremely important. So in order for to be able to have a broad use. So when they say that we have used it before, we've used it maybe on particular cases, maybe for like SWAT, when we have been trying to get a better perspective of how to breach a home or in that type of case. But when we're talking about a broad application, from what we've heard with residents coming before you about being able to track, or for what you've seen in our weekend review of being able to, handle the disturbance at Monaco Park, that is the first case of truly the drones as first responder. And that is what I would say is going to be a microcosm of opportunity of our priority 3 and type 9 calls, which is addressing your ATVs and type of uses, because yes, we will be able to address the ATVs, the motorbikes, and some of the other lower lying priorities, because we will be able to dispatch and we'll be able to track and be able to confirm where and how those are being stored or being located, or being able to follow back to the premises of where those individuals are being holed up at. As far as it goes to operation, I'm going to trust the judgment of my police chief as to how those are going to be operationalized, and I would say that we all should, because we've got a number of different level of criminality in here, and we've got to be able to think about how those go through the day, to how those will be called into action. So while, yes, we'll be using those for ATVs, and yes, we'll be using those for the type of disturbances in Monaco, there'll be the other type of crimes that come up that are also burglaries and having to dispatch them for shots fired that will also have to be blended into that. So it'll be a broad swath of what we will have to deal with throughout the day, that I will rely on my chief, his DCs, as well as the commanders for those calls of service. But yes, I would say between all up and down the call for services that we will be using those drones for service.
Thank you.
So that was the long answer for yes. What I'm asking for is a possibility. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor Douglas?
Yes, thank you. City Manager Rogers, I know earlier I had asked about the concrete flat work. So is that something you want me to bring back later, or is that something I need to make a motion now so that if it's approved, the city can move forward on that assessment?
I think if you make your motion now, Mayor, I think that would be greatly appreciated.
Okay. All right. Appreciate that. All right. Well, it's kind of lengthy. I'll try. All right. I move that the city council direct the city manager to conduct an assessment of the existing tree lawn sidewalks in the northern range area to determine the total linear footage of sidewalk flat work that is needed of repair or replacement. Number 2, seek opportunities to expand the scope of current or planned sidewalk repair program to include additional tree lawn sidewalk flat work in the northern area based on the assessment. And 3, report back to council with a summary of findings from the assessment, including estimated linear feet of sidewalk in need of repair or replacement, cost estimate associated with recommended additional work, potential fund source or program adjustment to support the expanded scope. And the purpose of the motion is to improve pedestrian safety, accessibility, and overall quality of public infrastructure. That's my motion.
City Clerk, could you read that? No, I'm kidding. Did you text that to anyone? Did you do it on your own by chance?
I just need a second.
Councilmember Kim?
I'll second that.
And thank you. And Mayor Pro Tem, I did text that to you, that motion.
All righty.
I'll text it to Councilmember Kim too.
Okay. It has 3 sections and 3 subsections. Let's see. Does anyone want it read to them again? No? All right. Are there any questions? Councilmember Dukes.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So Mayor Douglas, I know this has been a conversation brought up, so I appreciate you bringing the motion forward. The question I have is just the scope of the request. In the motion, you mentioned it's going to be all northern range and looking at the concrete flat work across the whole northern range to examine the depth of it. Do you know how long that would take or an estimated cost that would cost the city before we can even put together the recommendation for a program?
Yes, that's what the city would determine give people opportunity to submit. And then from that finding, that's what we would determine what the cost is going to be. I'm not saying we could cover the whole cost, but at least we would know what that cost is. And like we do with other concrete work, we work in segments. And like the asphalt, same thing. We can't do all the asphalt 1 year. So they break it up into neighborhoods because the south area, that's always on the city's radar, but the north has not. And so I was just trying to see what that would look like if the city did look to see if things could be repaired or replaced.
Thank you. Thank you. I guess, City Manager Rogers, can you help me understand the vast operational, will this be a part of the work that's already happening? Or would you have to deploy have more employees go back out and do this initial assessment with the concrete work?
That's a very good question, sir. Hearing the motion, I will honestly have to tell you, I will have to go back to the team. We'll have to break down the various components, digest it with our CIP team, obviously talk it through with our, go through an initial assessment to determine what that looks like from an initial time estimate as far as, and I don't want to commit to what I think that would look like. I'm thinking as I'm speaking and my brain is trying to catch up, so bear with me for a second. Yes, we can come up with an initial time estimate. Yes, we can come up with an initial cost. All of that being said is some of that could occur in 2025. Some of that would occur in 2026. Some of that would happen in parallel as well as sequentially to the work and scope that we have that's occurring. There would be some potential impacts to what we have today, unless we are looking at farming out the work to a different vendor, which obviously has some cost implications. There is project management implications, given that, once again, we have, when you think about the workload that we currently have, right, we're already fully subscribed.
Yeah.
So that's where the internal due diligence and impact that we have to look at. And that's the discussions that I'd have to have with my team and the CIP team to tomorrow and into the near future. Because any work projects that we take on today, right, there is in some aspect project implications to that. It's just the reality of where we're at. But that comes with the job, and it's something that we just have to balance and we have to look at.
Can I ask a quick follow-up question around that? So the operational piece of it, is it possible to have that budget projection and bring it back to, or is that a motion? I have to ask for a friendly motion. Because I'm curious on how much it would cost us as a city before we actually go out and do the estimate as the concrete repair that's needed. So I'm looking at these in two phases. Does that make sense? Because internally, it's going to cost a lot. And then you have to do the assessment. So how much would it cost just for us to even do the assessment before we even look at how much it costs to do the repairs? I guess that's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. I mean, the difficulty around that is trying to go through the academic exercise of thinking about the FTE draw from the hours that we're pulling from staff, and we don't quantify the per hour, right? We don't charge per hour when we think about it to the client, because the client in our eyes is the public, and we don't charge the public for what we're putting into the community. So, right, we're not a for-profit business, so we're not charging the community for the time that we're putting into them, right? Like what you would find at a law firm or an engineering firm. So that's not a good way for us to quantify that service. So for us to come back to you with that, you know, we're gonna need an offset. That's the difficulty of us coming back to that. What I would say is, you know, if we were to come back, is where we typically come back to you is, what project do you want to push off?
Okay.
Is typically where we come back. Or, you know, if you want this, we need to add additional staff. Or if we want this, we need to add additional dollars, or we need to add an additional vendor to pick this project up. And that's where we would typically come back.
Okay. That's what I was asking, that's what I was trying to get to, is like, you'll be able to tell us beforehand what's the estimated cost of additional staff or project, and we have that discussion before you start doing the work in terms of assessment, correct?
Yes, we can come back and have that conversation if that's a friendly amendment from from the mayor.
Yeah, so Mayor Douglas, my friendly amendment is to have the city manager be able to give us a cost estimate on and prioritization of what we need to take off, for that the staff be able to add on this level of programming, so we get a better ballpark on what's needed before we actually do the assessment.
So, you know, what I'm asking is, you know, people submit their work. It's just like if we had asphalt done and there were certain areas that need to be fixed because they were, you know, problems, right? So this would be on the same scope. I'm not asking the city to go out with a measuring a wheel and measure all the sidewalks. This would be, you know, if we could put out a call for people to say, hey, my sidewalk is this, right? To just get an estimate of that, because it's not going out assessing everything. So there could be a way this could be done where it's not so much labor intensive. Just a simple ask of our residents, hey, you have a sidewalk that's either bulging or cracked, and just get us, at least we would know forward. I mean, that's just me. I mean, I'm not a public works person, but just a suggestion. So that's what I'm asking. I would rather do it this way and see what the results are. That way it doesn't hold us up.
Yeah, so I'll withdraw my amendment because I heard something different, but you clarified that. So it is ask for the residents to submit potential challenges with the sidewalk and saying that's the data point. It wouldn't be the staff going back out to look at all Northern Range sidewalks, right? So I'm okay with that.
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, I can add that later or add that now, but I just want to clarify that I'm not at all trying to say, hey, we need to repair $6 million worth of sidewalks. That's not going to happen. So I appreciate that.
Okay, amendment withdrawn. Councilmember Teeter?
I don't know if you heard me when I spoke earlier, but the work is already in progress, and I don't know where the city got the money for the work that they're doing right now. But they are grinding those edges off and making it to where it's safe to walk on there, at least in Bell Creek. So I don't know if you need an amendment to add that in there so they don't have to redo that or what, but it's being done as we speak.
Do you have a question for someone in particular, Councilmember Teeter?
No, I just wanted to respond to the motion. If you wanted to make a friendly amendment, that I don't know if you need to add that in there so that we don't reduplicate the work that's already been done wasn't done last week, and I can see where everything's getting all screwed up.
Can I respond?
Councilmember Dukes?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Teeter. Councilmember Teeter, what I've heard from the mayor is that it's not going to be it's the new work. My assumption would be in Bell Creek when it be submitted to be redone, because it's only going to be at all call the residents who are seeing or demonstrating some challenges with their sidewalk. So that wouldn't necessarily need to be submitted. What I'm hearing is that if we do a call for residents that really want their sidewalks repaired in the north, they'll probably ask for sidewalks repaired that's not repaired, right? So I think that Bell Creek or the work that's already being done, wouldn't be asked to come back out and do it again. That's my assumption.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, city manager, you had something you wanted to say?
No, just hearing the conversation. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just hearing the conversation by the mayor and obviously Councilmember Dukes. I would say if the mayor's, for staff's purposes, if he's willing to have that clarification be added to the verbiage of the motion, because words do matter, and those words for clarification purposes for our staff, being able to move forward would be extremely helpful for us, is extremely important.
What words?
About that, it would be resident-driven, resident-submitted, as opposed to the current verbiage, which is motion directing the city manager to conduct an assessment of existing tree lawns, sidewalks in the northern range area to determine the total linear footage of sidewalks, flat work that is in need of repair or replacement.
Okay.
And I have a question. Does the city pay for repair of sidewalks, broken sidewalks along the right-of-way, or does the homeowner?
The homeowner.
Okay. So we're gathering the information in order to inform the homeowner that there's sidewalk is broken. I'm not tracking what is going to happen if we do this process, if the homeowner pays for the flat work anyway, if they have to do it.
That is a very good question, ma'am, because right now we do not have a sidewalk repair program.
Did we used to?
We have not.
We never have.
We never have.
All right. All right, thank you. Mayor Douglas?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm asking because we've had, it was the flat concrete work. So I was asking that the city would look into having a program for homeowners to be able to fix that, because if we have a contract, it's going to be a lot cheaper as a contract versus individual contracts. And if it's affordable, I feel we should right now, because not us, but this was established 20-something years ago, and I don't think that's fair to people living in the area that they have to cover the cost, where if you live in the South, you don't have to. And so I think it upon us going forward and see how much of an impact that will be, and if it ends up being a costly amount, then we need to have some sort of program where the city's paying a certain percentage and the homeowners paying a certain percentage.
Okay, let's get clarification again here.
Okay.
Does the city repair sidewalks at its cost anywhere in Commerce City at homeowners' properties or renters' properties or whatever the case may be?
Are you asking me or city manager?
City manager, sorry.
Okay, sorry.
I'm trying to track your question, ma'am. So I may just have to rephrase it. Are you saying, do we repair the sidewalk?
Let me try again. The mayor just said that the city pays for the repair of sidewalks in South Commerce City, but not in North Commerce City. However, I heard you say that Commerce City does not have a repair program for any sidewalks anywhere in Commerce City, nor has it ever paid for sidewalks at a residence or elsewhere.
So I don't want to conflate the two things. So we do not have a sidewalk repair program for residents. So where the city has a program to where residents can request a subsidization from the city to help repair a sidewalk that is broken in front of their residence. The city does not repair a private responsible property or a sidewalk in front of a private residence. When it is a detached sidewalk that is separated from a public right-of-way. So where you have the sidewalk, tree lawn, curb, we do not repair that sidewalk. But when we have an attached sidewalk where we have a curb and a sidewalk, when we go through the concrete flat work, when we are repairing the curb, we are also then repairing that sidewalk. Because when it's attached, we do not want the responsibility of that homeowner repairing the sidewalk and the curb because it's all one concrete slab. Because ultimately then we run into drainage issues to where we then have either a public nuisance or a safety hazard or concern or a potential drainage concern that could then cause conflicts within our rights of way. So we then take it upon ourselves to then fix that issue because we have deficient sidewalks within our core city. But when we are, with what we have been doing in the core city, when we have been updating our sidewalks, we have then been bringing our sidewalks up to standards from our typical 2 or 3 foot sidewalks to our 5 foot sidewalks. And we're doing that now with our ARPA standard, with our ARPA dollars. And then obviously then trying to bring those into compliance to where those can then be transitioned to the adjoining property owners. So once again, it's not a one size fits all. It is a case by case basis as we're making determinations. So you have to look at it as to where that sidewalk condition exists, both in the core city and in the northern range. But yes, in the northern range, when it is that detached sidewalk, we are not repairing on behalf of the private resident or business in the core city. If it is an attached sidewalk adjacent to curb work that we have to take on, we will take it on 9 times out of 10.
Thank you. Tree lawn is the issue here. Mayor Douglas.
Yes. Yes, tree lawn's the issue. That's what I'm getting to, because in the south, it's the sidewalk and the apron. They're connected. So those do get repaired, even if they're in front of someone's home. And just like city managers just stated, it's because of drainage. In the northern area, because of the land development code and the way when it comes to the development of our neighborhood, they've been approved with tree lawns. And so that becomes an issue because the problem is there's trees in the tree line, and the trees we don't have the barriers like we do now, okay, as far as code. And I'm looking at finding a solution for the north. And if we have money, because I asked about the budget, we had $107 million left over in our unfunded balance of general fund. Is that correct, City Manager Rogers?
Sorry, sir, say that one more time.
Looking at the budget from last year, at the end of the year, we had $107 million left over because we had not identified any projects in the hopper that got approved. So that money went forward. So at the beginning of the year, we started out with $107 million in our fund balance, correct?
No, we had about 52 million in unassigned general fund balance left over, sir.
Unassigned, but total was 107, right?
No,
Well, yes, in total, but they're restricted.
yes, but that's also including restricted funds as well.
Right. Yes, I'm sorry. I don't have my paperwork in front of me, but just total.
Yeah.
And
Mayor
so-
Douglas, may I call on Councilmember Dukes and Councilmember Douglas?
Sure, you sure can. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Dukes.
Hey, Mayor left. I was going to offer a friendly amendment. Oh, there you go. Mayor Douglas, offer a friendly amendment to clarify the purpose of the program. And so I guess what I'm hearing is that the friendly amendment would be to say, let's direct city staff to create a resident-ran initiative where they submit their request for sidewalk repair in efforts to create probably a pilot program to assess the cost of repair if we had enough dollars to cost repair. Is that clarification? Is that?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to change it to, something similar to that.
Okay.
Based off City Manager Rogers' recommendation. And City Zarzeki, if you can help me with that, that'd be great. Thank you.
While that's being contemplated, I'm going to go to Councilmember Douglas, and then I'll come back.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I appreciate that. So I understand where this is coming from because there are a lot of people living on fixed incomes in our northern area. They don't have the extra money to fix their sidewalks. They simply don't have it. They're getting fined, so they have to pay the fine, and then they got to figure out what they're going to do. Most of them cannot afford to refinance their home, to pull money out of their home if they have equity. Their taxes have been increased exponentially in the last couple of years. Metro District taxes have gone up people are living on the edge and they're strapped. And so anything that we can do to figure out a way that we can help these people figure out a way to stay in their homes and be longstanding members of this community, I think is worthwhile. They didn't ask for the tree lawns. We decided to do it because we thought it would look great. Didn't think it through. 20 years later, now we have the problem. And what it's doing is causing safety issues because in the wintertime, the water collects or will come up and fill those cracks. And so you've got skating rinks essentially on the sidewalks. And for pedestrians using those, it can be really dangerous. It can be a safety issue where tripping could be a possibility. I know somebody who lost their front teeth in her 60s, tripping over a sidewalk on a walk, just walking her dog. And so this is a real issue. Now, so not only did they have to then, and this was on somebody else's sidewalk, but they had a huge medical bill that they had to take care of, and they had to have their front teeth replaced with false teeth, and huge costs. So, I mean, I didn't really understand the purpose of this motion to begin with, but now I do, and so I wanted to share my understanding of this with everyone and the purpose behind it.
Thank you, Councilmember Douglas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, Mayor Douglas has returned, but we still had a quorum, even while he was missing. So, is there something that we could vote on, please? I think we had. Do we have the friendly amendment language yet?
Yes, I believe so. Would you like me to read it all?
Please, thank you.
Okay. A motion directing the city manager to, 1, conduct an assessment of the existing tree lawn sidewalks in the Northern Range area to determine the total linear footage of sidewalk flat work that is in need of repair or replacement. This assessment shall consist of submissions by residents, including information regarding the linear feet of their sidewalk that may need repair or replacement. 2, seek opportunities to expand the scope of current or planned sidewalk repair programs to include additional tree lawn sidewalk, flat work in the Northern Range based on the assessment. And 3, report back to City Council with a summary of findings from the assessment, including the estimated linear feet of sidewalk in need of repair or replacement, cost estimates associated with the recommended additional work, and potential funding sources or program adjustments to support the expanded scope.
Thank you. Does that make sense for the motion maker and the seconder?
Yes, and that's what I was going to, not exact words, but suggest, but I asked city attorney to help me out, so I appreciate that, Lee. Thank you. And thank you, Councilmember Dukes, for adding in as well.
And Councilmember Kim accepts the amendment as well, correct?
Correct.
All righty. Okay, Councilmember Dukes.
Sorry, I have one friendly amendment for a tweak in the motion. In the motion, it says current sidewalk repair programs. And I would amend that we strike current sidewalk repair because there isn't a current sidewalk repair program. We just say potential sidewalk repair program, if that's possible, Mayor.
Yes, because we don't have one, yes.
Good with that too.
Is that okay, city manager, city attorney? Zarzaki?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you both.
So that reads, seek opportunities to expand the scope of sidewalk repair programs.
think it would be seek opportunities to expand the scope of potential sidewalk repair programs, because we do not have one existing. So technically, you might want to get rid of expand as well, because there isn't one that exists
Exactly.
to expand.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
So we need a verb there.
To create. Seek an opportunity to create the scope. Yes.
To develop.
Seek opportunities to develop a sidewalk repair program to include ... I can reread the entire thing if needed.
Can you just read that paragraph again, please?
Yes, this would be number 2, seek opportunities to develop a sidewalk repair program to include tree lawn sidewalk flat work in the northern range based on the assessment.
By
Okay,
Jove, I
thank you.
think we have it. Does that work for you, Mayor?
Yes.
And how about you, Councilmember Kim?
Agreed.
Yay. Okay. I believe now we can, City Clerk, would you like to read the amendment, or should we just take a roll call vote?
I can read the motion.
Thank you, the motion.
Of course. A motion directing the city manager to, 1, conduct an assessment of the existing tree lawn sidewalks in the northern range area to determine the total linear footage of sidewalk flat work that is in need of repair or replacement. This assessment shall consist of submissions by residents, including information regarding the linear feet of their sidewalk that may need repair or replace. 2, to seek opportunities to develop a sidewalk repair program to include tree lawn sidewalk flat work in the northern range based on the assessment. And 3, to report back to the city council with a summary of findings from the assessment, including the estimated linear feet of sidewalk in need of repair or replacement, cost estimates associated with the recommended additional work, and potential funding sources or program adjustments to support the expanded scope.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Seeing none. Call the
Your vote
vote.
is open.
Thank you.
Mayor Douglas, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Chacon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. And Councilmember Kim?
Concur.
Thank you.
All right, the vote is unanimous with 2 absences. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I have a question under administrative council business, and that is, who will be doing the Metro District oversight?
Right now, ma'am, we have Hilltop Securities, no differently, we have Hilltop Securities contracted to conduct the audit report similarly like last year.
What about compliance with this, with the service plan? That was, they don't do that. They do only financial. Who would be doing the compliance with the service plan?
Butler's, that's last year we had Butler Snow that conducted a review. Obviously, we'd have to have a continuing conversation with them again. Obviously, that would be a conversation I'd have to have with the city attorney's office with that. But that would have to be a model that we would bring forward again. But that's what we've done in the past. I believe we would do it again going forward, but I'd have to talk to my counterpart, Mr. Zarzecki, and bring that forward, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I would also like consideration of an actual staff person. If you paid a staff person plus the 30% that they get as full-time staff, add on to that, I think that would be less than checking the 73 service plans to make sure everybody was in compliance. And we'd have someone full-time overseeing all aspects of this, which I think is something that I would like to see going forward. I know we've tried to do that previously. City councils have voted for a separate staff person to oversee metro districts. And I would like to raise that again. I'm not going to do it tonight, but I will bring that back in the future. Thank you. Councilmember Teeter, you have administrative council business?
Yeah, I'm concerned on that. I heard that the city is not doing any concrete work and does not have any ongoing programs. So maybe it's the Metro District that is grinding the sidewalks right now, because I was standing there yesterday with 3 neighbors from Bell Creek, and we was looking at the job they just did, and the neighbors were commenting that they made it a lot better. So maybe we need to coordinate with the Metro District in Bell Creek before we start replacing sidewalks, because somebody's working on those sidewalks, if it's not the city.
Can't say, sorry. It could be a number of different projects that are out there. It could be Metro District, could be the Water District, it could be, like I said, I mean, we can find out what project is going on out there that it may be associated with and see who's doing some work. So,
Somebody's doing it.
absolutely.
All right, thank you. We'll go to council reports now. City Manager Rogers, please provide your weekly report.
Couple of just quick updates. Starting with some of the fun ones, Paradise Island is currently on track to open May 24th. The large play feature within the larger pool, in the leisure pool, is currently restored, repainted. The slide tower is painted. All of the 3 slides are painted, gel coated. The splash pad has 11 newly added water features, along with some clusters for the ground spray area are ready to be open on May 24th. So the splash pad and Paradise Open are all slated to open on time, May 24th for Memorial Day. So looking forward to that. Our first story walk, which is installed at Monaco Park, is launched, as you know. The Very Hungry Caterpillar is our first story walk by Eric Carl. Families are invited to visit that park, enjoy the story, and explore that very, very fun activity. The 105th Chambers traffic signal update. Our vendor currently has the traffic signal poles ordered. They say it's going to take up to 8 weeks, just given how materials are taking to get those in stock and to get that moving. So, but in the meantime, we're going to start some site work at that intersection. We have this Thursday at Eagle Point Rec Center. We're holding a public meeting on updates and holding questions from stakeholders and getting feedback from residents on the Land Development Code update. And then last but not least, we are starting to get the drones mounted to the rooftop of our 3 facilities. So good news there. And then last but not least, we'll go through June 16th agenda. We have 2 presentations, or 1 presentation, DEI Commission Annual Update. We've already talked about the waste management services, which is actually going to be a resolution, not a presentation. We have Ordinance 2675, which is recognition of grant funds for a bridge over Tower Road. We have recognition of grant funds in the amount of $300,000 for wildland fire mitigation. We also have grant fund recognition for police donation funds in the amount of $444,000. We also then have grant fund recognitions, not grant fund, reappropriation for remaining balance of the Metropolitan Football Stadium District funds in $16,430.19. We have proclamation declaring June 19th, Juneteenth. Then we have proclamation declaring July 2025 B.B. Moore, Campbell National Minority Mental Health. And then we have a resolution declaring support of public art installation at Kalu Park. And then a public hearing for eligibility for annexation into Commerce City at the northeast corner of East 112th and Himalaya for annexation 25001. Having us close up that night at 9:55. And with that, I end my report for the evening.
City Manager Rogers, you and I spoke this week about the fact that you were going to give us an update this evening on sound walls for East 96th Avenue widening.
Yes, ma'am. We are currently working on an education and an engagement campaign with targeted property owners along 96th Avenue corridor for those that abut adjacent to the widening project. We anticipate that that will be occurring over the course of the next 2 to 3 months for us to inform them of what the sound walls potentially could look like, inform them of what potential impacts may or may not occur with or without what that may be. We eventually would come back to the council with an update on the entirety or holistically of what the widening project of 96th Avenue. We are still working on the details of what this engagement and education of what sound walls are for those who would be impacted along 96th Avenue. So we would anticipate that, like I said, that would be a targeted outreach to those along the corridor based on the conversations that we had with the council back in February.
Okay, thank you. And you asked me to send a map where I could show the homes that are impacted between Chambers and Tower. Are all of those areas included in your outreach program?
Those would be the ones that we would contact, yes, ma'am, about, based on the conversation from February, and yes, that overlap with who we would be reaching out to along the corridor. Yes, those would be the ones.
Okay, so that was Frontera Village, Buffalo Highlands, East Point, Second Creek Farms.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you had also mentioned that the sound walls would not go up during the road construction, but after the road construction. Is that true?
The provision of sound walls, if necessitated, would go up potentially after the widening of the roadway, if necessitated.
Okay, if necessitated. And you said that there were questions that the city council had at the meeting in February that you were addressing. What were those questions that are being addressed in the process you're going to undertake?
Yeah, the questions that were necessitated were the cost of the sound walls. The questions were the design of the sound walls, the distance of the sound walls from the residences. There were comments that were made about the potential obligations of who would be responsible party for construction of sound walls along the construction of the widening, whether it be the responsibility of potentially the developer or the city. And part of that was just, I think, dependent upon the timing. So part of this was a part of how could we utilize some of this information as we were educating the neighboring residents as we were going through the coordination and construction of the widening of 96th Avenue. So that would be part of our addressing the roadway construction with the residents that would be impacted.
Okay, it is a concern to have that be a truck route with semi-trucks rolling so close to homes that the city previously approved to be that close along the road. And now there's going to be semi-trucks rolling buy, not cars, not vehicles, not big SUVs, but semi-trucks. So and garbage trucks. I hope that we can find a satisfactory resolution, and I look forward to the community meetings you're going to have, and I will be at those meetings and look forward to letting people know when those are occurring. Thank you. Does anyone else have questions? Councilmember Dukes.
Thank you. City Manager Rogers, just a quick question. You may not have the answer tonight, but I didn't want to, I saw an email about our shindigs and our music in the park, and it made me realize or remember a part of a motion earlier this year about having small businesses have tents and opportunity to set up at these events. Would it be possible if you could just send us an email update later on to say this is still happening, so we know like there's opportunities for, the goal was having small businesses be able to set up and park a tent so that they can reach out to residents and start developing their clientele at little to no cost at all of our city events. That was a part of a motion when we talked through the Mary markets, food trucks, as well as ice skating rinks. So that was a part of that motion so I just want to make sure that doesn't get lost in the cracks or falls through the cracks.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I do have one more question for you. A couple of weeks ago, I asked about the cardboard recycling that the city had undertaken and whether that was part of the bid for waste hauling. And I just wanted to point out that it was a unanimous vote in October of 2020 to have cardboard recycling. I haven't been able to find any action by the city council rescinding that vote, by the way. If you know of one and it's necessary.
It's not my understanding. It's my understanding it's not going away, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. Just wanted that additional clarification. City Attorney Zarzeki.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I would say, council, please look in your email inboxes tomorrow. There are a number of things that I will be sending to you, one of which that I want to highlight publicly is that on Friday, May 16th, Governor Polis issued an executive order, D-2025-005, and that executive order outlines a scope of state funding that will now be tied to compliance with what the executive order calls the state's strategic growth legislation. That, as you're aware, that includes a handful of land use and development, what he's calling strategic growth legislation that was passed in 2024 and this year. The EO directs a number of departments to create a list of potential funding opportunities for local governments and will directly tie those funding opportunities to compliance with each of those 7 bills. I will be providing you a summary of it. I've reached out to CML to get a sense of what they have heard, but this is causing quite the stir in the local government community. So that is all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, City Attorney Zarzeki. Do you, on the Zoom call, have questions for City Attorney Zarzeki? Okay, Councilmember Chacon.
I do on this one specifically. I heard that I think it's Westminster, Lafayette, and a few other cities are going to actually be holding lawsuits against the governor's office for this because it challenges what they consider to be safe density and a number of other things for land use. Can we also get updates about where those cities are that are challenging it? I am concerned how this will impact Commerce City, especially funding tied to transportation. We need a balance, and I really think that this is going to cause more imbalance in Commerce City. So I just kind of wanted to follow up where other cities are considering where we might not necessarily be aligned.
Yes, I absolutely will give you that update as soon as I get it.
Thank you.
Mayor Douglas?
let's see. Yes, I had a question for Councilor, I'm sorry, for City Manager Rogers. And so you just went over as far as the regular meeting is just for June 16th, correct?
I'm sorry, Mayor, say that one more time, sir?
You just did an update on the regular meetings for June 16th, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're not doing July 7th and we're gonna wait?
I did not do July 7th, sir, but if you would like,
Okay.
I can.
Oh, no, that's fine. If you were gonna do it next week, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And City Attorney Zarzaki, yes, this is a lot to filter out what the governor has done on the 11th hour. So I'll be looking forward for your email for the explanation because, yeah, there's quite a list here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else? Nope. All right, let's go to council reports. Who has a council report, please? All right, let's see. Councilmember Teeter.
Let's see, I attended the Sand Creek Regional Greenway Committee last week and also the Friends of the Front Range Wildlife Refuge, along with Mayor Pro Tem, and also the Memorial Day Parade Planning Committee meeting, along with Councilmember Kim. Everything's ready to go as far as the Memorial Day Parade. And I also attended the quarterly airport coordinating committee, and I found out that, I know we had some people asking about Buckley Road going through from 56th Avenue up to 96th. And what happened was way back in the day when Denver come in and annexed the airport land, they own, or they had annexed that corner of the Rocky Mountain Arsenal for about, it goes on for about a quarter mile right through there. And they didn't know what to do with it. They didn't want to do any road work. And the airport committee at the time approved them to make it open space. And so that is now open space. So if we want to open up a road there, we need to go through the airport committee to work with County Commissioner Lynn Baca, and she's has meetings on them with a regular basis to where we can possibly get that road back or get them to release it or something. We need to figure out something to get that opened back up. But nobody was interested in having it as a roadway back in the day. And so that's why it wasn't council that closed it down. It was the decision from the airport committee that closed it down. And that's all I have on that. And I also attended the Adams County grant breakfast last week and for open space, and picked up 3 grants along with Commerce City staff, and a little over $1 million, which was very nice. And it's projects that are already done, but it's nice to get that money, and that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Teeter. Mayor Douglas.
Yes, sorry about that. Raised my hand, lowered it, on mute. Yes, I would say that since Saturday, coming out here to Vegas for the ICSC conference, get that right, with Councilmember Kim. So I'd say yesterday, met with potential prospects, had conversations with some developers. Today was very productive collaboration. A set of conversations with, again, potential prospects for Commerce City. At the conference, I met with 33 potential prospects, myself and Councilmember Kim. He has met a great deal of prospects as well. Each has expressed various levels of interest and opportunities within the city. I say the momentum continues tomorrow with several more meetings scheduled, both with individuals already identified as prospects and then some that are not. They're going to meet new contacts. So far, this trip has been very highly successful and encouraging, and look forward to continuing engagement with a full summary following the conclusion of tomorrow's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. That sounds great. Councilmember Kim?
Thank you. Last week, I had a conversation with one of the developers, Daniel Frank, who wanted to touch base with me on a few small things. And then, of course, coming out here to ICSC, the International Council for Shopping Centers with Mayor Douglas, along with the Economic Development team, Brian and also Garrett, had several conversations as well. I mean, folks from your Home Goods to H Mart to actually jumped into a meeting with not meeting, but kind of nosed my way in with Crocky Sports Development that was out there, along with Qdoba and a few others too. So somewhat, successful, I think. It's just been very productive, just trying to have a conversation, essentially being a cheerleader for the city, trying to ensure that we can get garner some development kind of moving forward, that we can actually grow our city at a, between a home and retail balance is ideal. But, again, same as what Mayor Douglas had said, tomorrow will be another fun-filled, action-packed day of doing everything we can to continue engaging and having conversations with anyone and everyone that's out here.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Kim. And I just want to say that I'm so glad that you're both there. And on behalf of Commerce City, I remember last year how encouraging it was. So when you come back, let's bring that momentum with you from all of those people who have been so positive that you've met with. It's everybody keep your fingers crossed, right? Councilmember Douglas.
Thank you. So I'd like to start off by saying thank you to the council members and the members of the Economic Development team for going out and representing us well. And I think that this is going to be the year that we hit a home run with this trip. So thank you so much for doing all the hard work, because going to these conferences and keeping up the passion and the energy is not easy. So glad you're doing the hard work for all of us back here. Thank you. So had another busy week, and started out by attending the State Board of Education hearing for Adams 14's only community school, and the name is, of course, slipping out of my mind right now, but the hearing was successful. It was an 8-1 vote, and really a lot of enthusiasm for the state board for what's happening here, and for the prospect of continuing on with our community school model. I then attended another 27J tax use committee meeting, and I want you to know that we came to a conclusion or agreement that we can bring something forward to council. So I'm very excited about bringing that forward for our recommendation forward to the rest of council to have your input on it as well. And I'd really like to thank our staff members who also worked on that, especially Cheryl Karstens. And, you just supplied us with all the information that we needed to make a really sound decision. Mr. Rogers, you represented us well. I appreciate that. And Mr. Zarzecki, you and your team, I called you last minute. You clarified everything for me. You put it where I could understand what was going on with a very complex tax situation. The laws are very complicated when it comes to something like this, and you just made me feel comfortable in making decisions that would come forward to the rest of the council as a recommendation, and I feel very sound in that, and it's because of you and your team that I was able to do that. So thank you so much for that. Let's see, that night was the Youth Commission's end of year celebration. We're going to lose some incredible seniors, but they're going to be working with us throughout the summer, even though they have plans for taking off for college. They're still committed to the city. They're going to be volunteering for music in the park. They have a town hall that they're going to be setting up on their own. So I am just so proud of all of our students, and we're looking forward to bringing in new recruits coming forward and wishing those moving on the best of luck in their futures. And I know they have very bright futures. I also attended the DEI movie presentation of Crazy Rich Asians at the Eagle Point Rec Center, and we got to keep that up. That's a great way to provide free entertainment and snacks to our community. So the more that we can get that out there, the better. They're also considering maybe even taking the movies that they have and sharing them with the city, maybe at a park event over the summer. So that'll probably be going before DEI Commission for an agreement, but that's just wanted to let you know that that's a possibility and they're considering it. And I just want to thank those members of that commission for doing all the hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Douglas. Councilmember Dukes.
Thank you. Just a quick update. First, congratulations to all the graduating seniors from our various school districts. I think this is a big accomplishment to be graduating next couple weeks if you haven't already. I was fortunate enough to provide the commencement speech at the Stead School, which is their first graduating class. I talked about the importance of finding their passion and holding on to it, cultivating it, and sharing it in whatever they do after they graduate. 125 students graduated this year from the school, and it was truly emotional. It was something that was passionate, that a lot of the families, it was jam-packed over at the Colorado School of Mines, and just so much excitement to start that part of their life. I come from education, work in education in my day job, and this is always that part of the year where if you don't go to things like that, you forget about what it's like to dream big. You forget about what it's like to be excited about your next step, and listening to all the students and listening to families get excited about life and their future and what's the possibilities. Also, 9 News was there. Kyle Clark actually he interviewed a couple of the students there, so it was pretty neat if you haven't seen that online. I was also able to visit the Boys and Girls Club, Suncor Boys and Girls Club here in a core part of the city to look at the Child Care Center and what's happening there, which is truly remarkable in a sense that able to provide affordable child care for the residents in our city is something that's critical as we all, and if you have kids or if you've been a part of child care, it's a model that's hard to replicate, to keep open, to move forward, and hearing some of the successes around having $400 a month for some child care that includes after school time and extended school care, that's unheard of, and it's a big asset for our cities. On a personal note, I grew up going to the Boys and Girls Club on Boston and Colfax, and that institution itself is just such a tremendous asset for us as a city. It was an asset for me to make sure that I stayed on the straight and narrow. If you've ever been by Boston and Colfax here in Aurora, you know that's not an easy area to grow up, but it was because of Boys and Girls Club and organizations like that that make a tremendous difference in the lives of many thousands of youth. And so I'm forever in debt to the work and having a safe space for our city. So I hope that's something that we continue to see as an asset for us as a city, that without Boys and Girls Clubs, without safe space for our youth, we really don't have other things for them to do. So we want to make sure we protect that and continue to talk through how we have a relationship with the Boys and Girls Club. Met with Daniel Frank just briefly to talk through his thinking with the plans for his land. I'm excited about his thought process and what's going to be a great possibility for the Northern Range. And with that, that's my time.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Dukes. Again, I want to remind everyone that next Monday is Memorial Day, and there's a wonderful parade. It's really very small townish. It's the funniest parade I ever participate in, at the same time as being very moving, of course, because of what it's recognizing. I, as Councilmember Teeter noted, attended the Friends of the Refuge meeting, and thank you very much, Councilmember Teeter, for that additional information about Buckley Road. I was also a judge along with Councilmember Chacon at the Constitution mock hearings at Adams City High School. I love doing that project and listening to the kids. They spend a great deal of time to make their case and answer questions about certain constitutional issues. So it's a very important project. Yes, to echo Councilmember Douglas, thank you to the team sitting at this table, very much appreciated, to Cheryl Carsons, Jason Rogers, and Lee Zarzecki and his attorneys as well for helping us through the 27J use tax issues. And it will be coming forward for a vote, and it all has to do with Rocky Vista High School, by the way. And finally, I learned that, before that, Senior Resource Fair is a week after, is June 7th, so please mark that on your calendar as well. That's at Adams City High School. And finally, something that a lot of people were interested in my area, in particular, some owners of daycare centers. The Little Sunshine Playhouse project has pulled out of Chambers and 104th. So, do we have any other? Okay, you guys have your hands up. You want to speak again? All right, so Mayor Douglas? Did you want to speak again, Mayor Douglas? Or were you waving
yes,
goodbye?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. I appreciate Councilmember Kim acknowledging Brian Petterplace and Garrett Anderson, and I failed to mention that starting out. They're doing a great job of representing the city, and I really appreciate the city combined Booth with Adams County. And when I have been going around, I've had others, not only today but yesterday, highlight in a compliment our economic development team here in Commerce City. So I just want to let the city manager know that the team that you assembled, they're doing very well. So thank you.
And Councilmember Kim.
Just two quick things. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Number one is I want to say a huge shout out to the government team who ran the Denver Colfax Relay marathon. It's a 26.2 mile run, but it's divvied up amongst 5 people. Those 5 people were Keegan, Nathan, Kim, Jenna, and all ran by their leader of the group, Dylan. So congratulations to you guys for knocking it out of the park. And secondly, I want to say a huge shout out, a huge congratulations to Cheryl Carstens, who is now the Deputy City Manager of Operations. It was a fit like a glove essentially to have you in that position. So I'm happy that you are there, and of course, we'll see how things go in the future. That's all.
You're safe for 2 weeks. We don't meet again for a while. Thank you. All right. The time is now 8. Oh, one more. We can never have enough time, right? No matter how early our meeting is. Councilmember Dukes.
Just want to actually give Mayor Pro Tem a shout out for, and with working with Jenna, there was a lot of concern about having some speeders on the north part of the city. And through your leadership, we were able to get a speed test. And you brought me into the conversation so we can figure out how to curb some of the speeding in the neighborhoods. And I think it's not easy. It's engineering, it's prior city development, but I think with that leadership, so I appreciate you bringing me in and us talking through how to find out what we can do for the residents, specifically up north. So, thanks.
Thank you for your kind words. Councilmember Dukes. Councilmember Douglas.
Thank you. So I didn't get to bring this up in administrative business, but I won't go into it. But so there have been campsites that have been setting up, especially on Highway 2 along the fence line between 62nd and 64th, where our new hotel is located. I don't know whose land it is that they're setting up on, but they're leaving lots of trash. I did submit a request for trash removal through the Access program, but I've driven by there and the trash is still there. And it's not a good look for our city. I don't know who owns that land, but it can't be good for business. And I think it's something that we need to look into. And I will be bringing this issue back again, and I will again ask for it to go on a study session. It's a problem that has to be resolved. We can't keep running in circles on this and trying to put Band-Aids on amputations. It's not going to work. So I'm going to ask to bring this back, and if we could please figure out if there's anything that we can do with those campsites along that route, it would be much appreciated. And then if we could get that trash removed right away too, that would be really good.
All right. We are at 8:46 p.m. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.